Welcome back to my channel where I attempt to draw things and you get to watch me make questionable decisions along the way. Today I will take you on the magical journey that is my illustration process, a process so refined, so incredibly groundbreaking that it involves sketching, erasing, and crying at least twice. Anyways, today I'm going to walk you through how I created this pink Mercy illustration. Feel free to draw along or just grab a snack. Or let my video run in the background to help me out with the YouTube algorithm. Thank you! Alright, so first things first, we are going to start off with a sketch of Mercy, which I unfortunately forgot to record. I actually made a few different sketches for this illustration until I finally settled on the first one that you guys saw. Please pay no attention to how scribbly and ugly the sketches are. That's probably why I didn't hit record from the beginning. I was like, ooh, these are some sketches that I hope no one ever sees. But I want to show you guys the entire process, so you're going to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. After I was happy with my sketch, I am going to go ahead and outline it with a slightly textured brush. I did want this illustration to have a little bit more of a traditional feel, but in the end it just looks like a full-on digital illustration, I think. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Also, let me know if you play Overwatch or not, or maybe you used to play Overwatch. I know I have recently switched over to Marvel Rivals. This illustration, by the way, is from 2 years ago. I finally got around to editing the video and posting it. Oh my goodness. But yeah, recently I've been more into Marvel Rivals, but I definitely loved playing Overwatch. I wasn't a Mercy main, I was more of a Diva main, but I mean, Mercy's design is just absolutely gorgeous. I just had to draw her. So I'm just gonna leave you guys with the inking or the outlining process, and I will check back in when I have something else to comment on. Apologies for the flashing images of my browser popping up. I was drawing Mercy from reference images on the internet. I don't know why I did this illustration like this, because usually I will have the reference images on a separate screen, and I promise future videos won't be like this. But for now, please bear with me. I hadn't actually intended for this to be a YouTube video when I recorded it 2 years ago, I mean. But for more detailed illustrations like this, I had gotten into the habit of at least recording some of the process to prove that the illustration is actually my own, because these days it's so hard to differentiate between AI art and art made by a human, and I did not want any of those accusations. I mean, I have 2 degrees in fine arts, and that would really suck. So here we are just working on her staff, which was really tedious. I did put the staff on a separate layer, that way I could make everything connect properly. And then later, if I feel like the staff isn't in the right position, I could just take that layer and move it however I need to. Like the staff, I decided to add the wings on their own separate layer. That way I can fully illustrate them in all their detail and then just move them behind the finished illustration. And I wouldn't have to worry about what's coming in front of them and what's covering them. Also, I only illustrated one half of the wings and then I mirrored that. That way I could save time and I wouldn't have to draw the other half. And then after I was finished with my line art and happy with it, I start laying down my flat colors. And usually before I start coloring in, I will select the character and fill it in with like a white color or a slightly gray color. That way I can use that layer as a mask, or I could select the layer and I won't color outside of my lines. Alright, so when I'm done with my flat colors, I will usually make a new layer and set that layer blend mode to multiply. That way it is interacting with the shadows. And I don't like to add in shadows with a gray color. Instead, I like to add shadows with like a purple or a pink, because if you add shadows with gray, then your drawing is going to look a little bit lifeless, and you should definitely go for colored shadows. So I would recommend purple, maybe like a really dark pink, depending on what your illustration is. Sometimes blue can work as well, but try to avoid using gray and black for the shadows. And also, like I did for the line art, I did create a new layer for the shadows on the wings, and I am going to go ahead and mirror that for the other side, and I'm going to do the same with the highlights. Alright, so now that we're done with the shadows, guess what past me forgot to do again? I forgot to hit record when I started adding in the highlights. So there's a whole chunk missing here where I'm adding the magic that's kind of coming out of her staff. But we do have quite a bit of footage here where I'm adding in highlights on her hair and on her wings and on the rest of her outfit as well. And for the most part, I am using pink and yellow to add in the highlights. Pink and yellow because there are two different light sources in this image. There's the magic that's coming from her staff, which is yellow, and then her wings are emitting this pink glow. So that's why I'm alternating between pink and yellow. And I've gone ahead and added the highlights on a new layer with the blend mode that is set to overlay. just going in with a very soft brush and going over the wings to just give them a little bit of an extra glow. And sometimes if I want to intensify the glow, I will add another layer that is set to a blend mode of screen, and that way the highlight would look even more intense and bright. Okay, so suddenly out of nowhere, a wild background has appeared. Or I just forgot to hit record again. There's nothing too special about the background. I just added in some clouds with some white and pink splotches and some purplish blue splotches where the shadows are. I'm still really annoyed that I didn't record that part. Not that my clouds are good or anything. I mean, they're just little scribbles in the background. And as the final touch here, I'm just adding a gradient overlay to tie in all the colors and unify the lighting. And with that, this illustration is basically done and ready to be sent for printing. Now, back when I had created this piece, I was making a few fan art pieces for Comic-Con because I was going to be exhibiting in a few months from when I made this. And I wanted to take a few detailed pieces that were very involved and time consuming to show off, along with my simpler, doodly cutesy stuff. Now, in general, fan art sells better than original art at Comic-Con, but I will be focusing on original art in the future. Anyways, little did I know, those little scribbly doodles I made of Pokemon would be my best sellers. No one was interested in the pieces I had spent upwards of 8 hours on, but the silly little Pokemon stickers, for some reason, everyone wanted those. I'm grateful either way, and I always do enjoy these events. Now back to this Mercy illustration. Like I said, I had it sent off to be professionally printed, and I bought this beautiful watercolor paper for the prints, and I must say, the results are absolutely stunning. The texture on the paper gives the print a traditional look, and the colors are so vibrant. I was just so impressed with how the print turned out. The only issue is that these were kind of expensive for me to make because I had to source my own watercolor papers, and artist grade watercolor papers can be very, very expensive. So because of that, I had to hike up the prices of my prints quite a bit. That's probably why I didn't sell a lot also, because I ended up making expensive prints and therefore I had to sell them at a higher price compared to some of the other people at the Comic-Con. But I did make a few other prints of this Mercy illustration on a different paper that was a little bit cheaper. But just look at that texture. I think it is so worth it. I really like how these turned out. Anyways, that's gonna be all I have for you guys today and for this Mercy piece. I really hope you guys enjoyed my video and watching my process. If you guys like my content, please consider subscribing, maybe leave a like, it helps me out so much. And I will see you guys in my next video. There's so much more content on this channel to come. Bye bye!